Apple put out the new goggles. You guys saw it?
Yeah.
The I watched Marquez. I watched Tech Windows. I watched Brownlee's review of them, which was fantastic. You guys should go check it out. And he's going to break it down way better than us, and anything that we say here is all going to be stolen from him. But it's really interesting. It's really interesting.
What's your take?
One thing I thought was really cool. The goggles, it looks as if they're translucent, meaning you see the eyes. So if I'm wearing them, there's a mode where you can see my eyes. It's actually not my eyes. It is a projection of the inside of the goggles on the outside. Whoa. And you can turn that on or off. Now, when it's quote unquote off, right? So, or on, so you can see my eyes, it lets you know that I can see you and look at you because I'm looking at everything around me, right? So it's really Jarvis. Like, remember with Iron Man? Like, you can have multiple screens going on. You can look at your computer right there, and then it will mirror what's on your computer because it's obviously synced up to all the Apple stuff, and then just pop it up into wherever you want in this world, and then you move it around with your fingers. All you have to do to I guess, click on something is just do this with your fingers. And it's locked with your eyes.
That intuitive that like it'll actually move. Like when Marquez was doing it, it was actually moving it around.
They don't show him using it. He's just describing his use of it, and I'm sure there's certain limitations. Yeah,
using it.
But like, it's not coming out for another year.
They have had, like, some of the goggles that are out now have the augmented reality where you can do that same thing.
But you're doing it with a controller, I believe.
Either a controller or you wear some gloves or something.
Or the gloves.
Yeah.
So
this
like,
is dope. That
he's like, one of the things he said is, Apple's charging $3,500 for it, which is much more expensive than all the other goggles on the market. And he goes, but like Apple often does, there is nothing to compare this to. They're setting a price point because you cannot literally compare this technology to anything else out there. The fact that it's registering your eyes. So if you're looking at a certain app, it will, it knows how. Like if you're focused in on, let's say, your music app, it will go to the music app that's on the screen in front of you. It's like you're looking at a computer essentially, and it will highlight it in a way, and then if you want to click it, you just go like this, and it just knows where your fingers are, knows where your hands are. It's registering the reality around you and this fake reality that's creating in front of you and allowing you to interface with the fake reality. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Is this not a little scary to everybody?
It's scary.
Well, break down the...
Like, I think how much we're addicted to our phones, how much that takes us out of reality. I can't sleep for shit. A big reason is the phone. I know how addicted I am to it. You're just immersing yourself even more with this. Like, there's no reason to not live with this all the time. I can just go wherever I need to go, do whatever I need to do.
It's got 2-hour battery life.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better.
No, you're 100%
It's
right.
only going to get longer. It's only going to progress quicker and quicker.
I do think that it creates... I understand why you're scared, because it enables you to live your life completely within a screen.
Yeah, and sorry, one more point. There's been no study that says human beings are happier with smartphones.
Yeah, but they don't care about our happiness.
Yeah, they don't care about our happiness. But that's another reason that I'm a little fearful. Is like, this is only going to exacerbate whatever.
We don't care about our happiness either. But so what this allows you to do, it's quite interesting. It's like, okay, we've got 9 hours of phone time or 7 hours of phone time that you're doing a day, and then I have the Apple Watch, so it's like I'm always kind of part of you. This does enable it so that you can live within a screen your entire day.
Yeah.
So you can put that in eventually. You could put these things on, and I'm sure there'll be like really small versions of them, and you can put them on, and you could go about your day. You can order coffee. You can FaceTime. This is awesome. You can FaceTime. And what the person sees on FaceTime is a AI-generated version of your face that you first do with your iPhone. So when you first are setting up the goggles, it creates this version of your face, and that's what's projected. So you and I are FaceTiming. I got the goggles on. You don't see my goggles. You see my face talking to you, but it's AI-generated.
So it looks like you're out here just talking to me?
No. You on your regular phone.
Okay.
You're not on your goggles.
Right,
You just see me talking to you, but it's not me because I have the fucking goggles on. Now, it probably will feel a little bit weird. It's like, okay, I'm talking to a computer, but eventually it will look exactly like you.
Yeah.
And does it mimic your, like if you're laughing, does the AI version laugh or?
I imagine.
Maybe we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
It's not there now.
Yeah. That's what that girl Sinead said. She was like, technology, the trend is that it gets smaller and closer to your body.
Yeah.
And that like as these progress, they will get smaller.
Oh yeah, you had
and
a
smaller.
futurist.
Yeah,
futurist
this
on
girl,
Camp
Sinead.
Gagnon.
Yeah, Sinead Bovell. But she was talking about this, and she like called this out like 4 months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
On your pod?
Yeah. She was like, this is going to happen, and it's going to progressively get better, and it's going to replace a smartphone. So we're not going to be using our iPhones on a day-to-day basis, and this will be eventually what people are using, whether it's the goggles or whether it's just glasses or contacts or a Neuralink.
Google tried it with the Google Glass and it just didn't.
Well, Google can never do hardware because they just don't have culture. And they just and it probably was a little bit before its time. It didn't have like the technology. I don't think people will walk around with a headset that's that big.
Yeah.
What I can see them potentially doing, and apparently it's a little bit heavy and kind of cumbersome right now, but what I can see somebody doing is working with it. So instead of taking your laptop to work, you take that to work. You know who's not looking over your shoulder to see if you're actually doing stuff? Your boss, when you have it all on your goggles.
Yeah.
It's gonna get more comfortable. You can monitor things, you can text, you can do everything you need in complete privacy right here. And you can see what's going on in your world around you. So it's not like you can't see what's happening in the office. You're not worried about somebody like bumping into you or throwing something at you. I can see you, Alex, while I'm typing on my computer right here.
Yeah.
And multiple people work. Sorry, real quick. Multiple people to that point. Multiple people work with two monitors.
Yeah.
And you can have 4.
That's the thing. I didn't think people would use this at the office. This will be the new way to work from home because now you can get rid of that big desk and get rid of the office space in your
that
house.
you need the 4 different computers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Imagine you're a one of these Wall Street guys that has 3 different TVs going on at the same time and a ticker on every single one of them and all your reports. And you're tapping in between all of them.
Now you can comfortably be on your couch, just have all your screens right here.
Yeah. She predicted that this will change like the way people decorate their homes, like interior decor completely changes because you no longer will need physical workspaces. You'll no longer need physical TVs.
That's just it.
And then on top of that, you're going to be able to walk around and you won't have physical advertisements. So you'll have curated ads the way you have on your phone that will pop up in the world virtually as you're walking through.
Oh, wow.
And then you can take them off, and then there's no more billboards that are clogging up all over the streets.
Question, isn't this kind of the idea of what NFTs was? Like, we're eventually going to live in this world and the art will be in this world on these glasses?
Oh, wait a minute, wait. You might still have billboards,
Cheaper.
but those billboards can be curated to your specific desires and interests.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's just a QR code on it, or not a QR code,
Which is
but
a
whatever
green
the
screen,
equivalent
whatever,
is.
yeah.
It's a green screen. It is whatever it is. In a city, it would actually probably look uglier like this. Or maybe they find a way where it can look beautiful, right? It's like the billboard itself can just be a piece of art when you don't have the goggles
And
on.
it also doesn't matter because we're all here anyway.
They do that. They do that for soccer games where the little banner that goes around the field
Changes
based off of
depending on
where you live. They'll
Exactly.
change that.
Smart.
But there'll still be billboards because not everyone will be able to afford this. Most people actually won't be. So there'll probably just be more billboards. So
Within
you're gonna
5 to 10
have all
years,
the
though,
legacy.
it's only going to get cheaper. It's only going to get more accessible.
Eventually,
And better.
people are going to have it. But what I thought was really interesting about this is oh, I forgot. Fuck.
I think the cool thing in the future when they have the Neuralink and then you have these things, so then you don't even have to do the whole clicking with your hand. It's like you're just thinking everything you want to do on the screen.
Spotify, play the song,
Like-
and you're just thinking in your head.
Yeah, that's going to be the next shit.
Yeah, but everyone predicted it was going to be VR, whereas like that NFT space where things were like all virtual. You're putting on the Oculus and now you're just like completely immersed in this quote unquote virtual reality.
Yeah.
And it seems like AR as of right now is like the better bet, where it's an
It's
augmented.
so much better. And don't get me wrong, VR creates way funnier videos for the internet. Like, you know, people fighting a wall and running into shit, freaking out.
climbing on a little rail over
Yeah.
New York.
But AR creates the comfort to actually work.
Yeah.
I would feel uncomfortable if I was doing work in an office and I didn't know who was next to me, close to me, around me, anything.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like you'd think that you'd bang your coffee. There's so many things that could
That
go
was
wrong.
my issue with the Oculus. Just like trying to watch a movie on it or like play a game with it is like I would constantly be like, is there someone?
Right here.
No,
yeah.
but that's the thing. It has that
This
setting
is both.
already built in. Like
No,
it has the.
what I'm saying is you
see
could,
through
with
it.
this, what we're saying is you can opt into it, but it exists also in augmented reality where you can see is augmented, you can see everything around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which I think is important for most of the use. Like if you're checking email, you're looking at all these other things, you want to be able to see the environment around you. If you're watching a movie and you want to totally lock in, Sit down, you know you're not moving, lock in. And if at any point in time you want to see what's going on around you, you just turn it on.
So there's a space for both, but this allows you to live your day to day.
Yeah.
And then when you really want to go into the VR world, you do that and that alone.
This is more functional for day to day.
Yeah.
100%. And I think that's what Apple realized. Yeah, I think that's what Apple realized about it. Also, I thought it was really smart. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The fact that they're announcing it a year ahead of time. So it's not coming out for a year. And they did that so that the companies start making apps for this. Because it's a different operating system.
Yeah.
It's the Vision operating system or the Vision Pro operating system.
Right.
You basically have a computer in your head. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so they're going to make their apps for it. So by the time it comes out, you're not limited. Like when Oculus came out, you could play one game where you grab the fucking gun and you shoot the shit in the environment. Like there wasn't just a lot to do with it. And for me, I bought them. And then since I really couldn't do that much with it, or I felt I couldn't do that much with it, I just kind of lost interest. This, it's got to be seamless.
Yeah.
The second I put it on, I got my email, I got my Apple ID, everything's ready to go. I'm watching movies, I'm on a flight with it.
Yeah.
Think about us when we're flying almost every weekend. Like,
Yeah, on a flight, this is amazing.
and I like the fact, and Brownlee pointed this out, but I like the fact that the battery pack is external because it takes away the weight.
Off your head.
Adding all the weight to the already heavy thing, fucked up. You have it external and it's just something that you plug in and then it can be in your pocket or it can be your backpack or whatever the hell it is. So then it almost feels like a headphone wire.
Yeah.
And then you can get 2 battery packs if you're going and you need more than 2 hours. You know you're not going to be
Plug directly into the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Apple historically has done a good job of like making cool technology completely consumable by everyone. Where it's like, okay, the computer is like this niche thing that people are using in specific spaces. Let's democratize it where everyone can use it. Like the Palm Pilot and like work phones is like a very niche thing for like business people.
BlackBerry.
Let's democratize it. Everyone can get a phone. And hopefully this does the same thing where it's like, okay, the Oculus is cool. It's within this gaming community and people are using it for specific stuff. Let's democratize it. Everyone can use it for everyday life. So it'll be interesting if they can do it again. And if they can, I feel like this is be like the 3rd or 4th time that they've successfully done it.
So what can we think, what would we use it for? Miles, I know that you're into the tech stuff. Like, what are you looking forward to using the Vision Pro for?
I don't know. That's the hardest one for me. Is like, it's cool they're giving developers a year to use it because I remember when the Apple Watch first came out, they did the same thing. They gave it like 6 months until it actually came out, and then they gave it to a bunch of people to actually make apps for it. And in the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to want an Apple Watch. When it first was announced, I was like, it doesn't itch anything for me. So I'm excited to see what use cases developers come out for with it. Same thing with Apple Watch. In the beginning, I was like, I don't know if Apple Watch is that impressive. And now I'm like, yeah, Apple Watches are wildly impressive. Text, call, the Ultra, all of that's gone really crazy and done cool stuff. So with the headset, I'm eager to use it. I'm so eager to try it out, but I don't know the exact use cases yet. And I'm excited to see other people find those use cases.
You'll see someone use it and go,
I could do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened with me with the Apple Watch. Is I saw you guys using, you were, I think, competing with workouts or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, it can track certain things.
Yeah.
What, Alex, you probably use Oculus the most out of all of us.
Well, I did, but just like you, I lost interest. Like this, I still don't really see a time I can use it, but I can see streamers loving this. Because if it can mimic your face, now it's like I can be a Twitch streamer or a YouTube streamer, and it's looking like you're looking straight at me. And at the same time, those streamers are looking at multiple screens while they're pulling up stuff and all that thing. So it's like, if you can integrate that, I can stream, you're seeing my face, I'm looking at this screen, I'm pulling this video in, and it'll be a much easier setup than having a camera, lights, da-da-da-da.
And you have your mouse that you're doing all this clicking. It's better if you're just running around.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I could see some.
I'm really excited for the content side of things, like content creation and content capture. So it takes 3-dimensional photos and videos using all the cameras on the outside.
Oh, that's right.
That's going to be like, imagine we're taking
3D videos.
Our kids, or our parents took photos of us on like film, and then we're taking pictures of our kids or future kids on like iPhones, and then like it's going to be insane to think that like you're sending a video to someone and you put it on and you're like in the room watching a kid's
like
first
fucking
steps.
Avengers Endgame with Tony Stark and his dad, that memory that he just lives.
Yes.
You're just in that shit.
And you get to put on the memory.
And you get to
So
take it
crazy.
too. You can just hit the button and then it does the thing. I'm excited
That's
to see
crazy.
content creation.
This is some old man shit to say, but it is very cool to see And I wonder if like past generations have felt the same way. But it's very cool to see technology catch up with the movies that we watched that were exhibiting technology that was far beyond our years.
Yeah.
So what we saw Tony Stark doing with Jarvis, we will very soon be able to do with the Vision Pro. Versions of it. But we have ChatGPT, which is something that we can ask questions, get answers to, interface to, like Jarvis. I mean, once they integrate, you know, their version of ChatGPT with this, think about think about that. Apple's AI.
Yeah.
Let's call it fucking Banana. What is it? Hey, Banana, can you bring up my schedule for today? Schedule pops up on your Oculus. You're brushing your teeth. Move that thing to this thing, what over here? What's the best way for me to get sushi before 8 o'clock? These things are suggested. Could you call the block? Maybe it can. Maybe it can. Could you go on Resi?
There's auto schedulers and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm
It's going to
saying.
be upgraded.
It's going to be Jarvis.
But what I'm saying is, since it's completely seamlessly integrated within your Apple world, everything can be done through Siri or whatever their AI function is. Whereas the other auto schedules, you have to go to that scheduler and then it will apply it to the different schedules, right? Yeah. Like, oh, dude, we're just going to be Apples. Right? Like, is that the future? Are we just do we just become the product ourselves?
That's why I think the big loser in this is Meta. Because Meta thought, and Meta's big bet was we're all going to be on the metaverse. We're all going to be Meta, Facebook. We're all going to be in that thing. We own, it's called the metaverse. Let's just call ourselves Meta. So the Meta world, what is called the metaverse, it's indistinguishable. Everybody's going to be ours. Then Apple just body these motherfuckers with the hardware. And then they got the Apple App Store.
Is Apple gonna create their content, movies, TV shows, specifically for the Vision Pro?
Probably
like, is there
eventually.
a way that they can shoot it? Like, do you shoot it? I don't know if this gives you any advantage, but like shooting it wider than it really would be so that when you watch it with the Vision Pro, you can actually like, kind of turn your...
Talking about Instagram?
No, I'm talking about like the Ted Lasso and all the shows. Like,
So just utilizing 360 cameras more.
But then you'd have to light 360, which would be really difficult.
Yeah, but like there's like on the Oculus, for example, there are YouTube channels that put stuff up.
That's 360.
Yeah. You can
Like, I just
potentially
think that
like
becomes more
eventually
popular.
use AI to fill in the gaps that aren't present.
Yeah, what would the rest of this stadium look like? What would the rest of this
And I bet you
scenario?
they could just fill in a generic plate to be like, okay, I'm in the soccer stadium and I'm only seeing this square, but the rest of it would be this.
Dude, you know what else they could do? They could shoot wider. I mean, things might start to get a little fuzzy on the edges, but they could shoot everything just wider, film everything wider, crop in for what the regular folks that don't have the Vision Pro would be watching. And then if you do have the Vision Pro, you can, with it, access the angles yourself just by looking on the edges.
Imagine our podcast.
Yeah.
You either are allowed to jump into each camera, or there's one in the middle, and they're just like able to zoom in and go, "This is a shot I want. I want to focus on Andrew."
Oh, that's the NBA games thing.
My suspicion though
Do
is
we
that
have a little
people,
space on the couch for everybody?
I don't think people will actually want to do that. Personally, I don't think people will want to be too immersive too frequently.
I think if they can find a way to do it with the person you want to watch it with, like if we all wanted to watch a movie and we found a way we're all sitting in that bitch, or we want to watch an NBA game, we find a way we're all sitting courtside talking to each other, having the experience. We're all watching Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards in the battle. Because right now it's just going to be your headset, and then you're going to talk to your wife about it.
Yeah.
If we're
I
in it
don't know.
together, it might be, we could just chat and have the whole thing.
My suspicion is that most people won't do that. My feeling is that they'll be like, okay, there'll be a screen where I'm watching things, and then there's also going to be Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah,
and there's also going to be my email, and that's how I'm currently watching TV, which is like the screen here, but mostly Instagram, and then looking up, and then checking my email and kind of flicking through stuff. And I think that's going to be more what the layout will be. And it won't be necessarily as immersive, and maybe that will be an option, but I think it'll be more like multi-plane with different softwares implemented.
Yeah, I do subscribe to that because that's kind of how we watch things right now. Like right now, somebody has this on. They're looking at their phone for something, and there's their laptop where they're working. And if they have these, all those things could be operating harmoniously, and they could be tuning in to us going back to their email, whatever, without even clicking out of Windows, just simply just kind of looking to the right slightly.
And that would be like the entertainment experience. And then I think the work experience is like, oh, I'm doing dishes around the house, or I'm cleaning, or I'm going to pick the kids up from school or whatever. And while I'm driving, I'm able to kind of like see a profile of a thing or my email thread or my text thread. And it's like just seamlessly integrated.
Once they have, I don't know if they can do this legally, but once the Apple Car comes out, then it's just a different version of that where your what is it called? The
well, it'd be autopilot anyway.
What is that? Yeah, where your windshield. Okay, so if you're on autopilot, you don't have to worry about the driving. Now your windshield becomes an interactive screen, right? And it's just your computer screen. So you're looking out if you want. It's like that augmented reality thing, but it could also have your movie that's up here, your text coming in, Instagram, all the other stuff.
When do they make kid sizes for this shit? And they just you just see a bunch of kids sitting at the restaurant in their goggles, like
that's. I think that's when it will fuck us up.
Oh,
I think right now that like you don't believe that you can. Yeah, like nothing can. I mean, you were acknowledging earlier, like I'm on my phone way too much.
Yeah,
but I feel like when we start to interact with a piece of technology, we're like, this isn't going to take over my life. This isn't going to do anything to me. I'm an adult. I can make my own autonomous decisions. It's once you see a kid scrolling an iPad nonstop that you go, ooh, that's an issue.
Yeah.
They look addicted to that.
Yeah.
Watching Cocomelon nonstop.
And if it's the only way the parents can calm that kid down, and it's like you see all the iPad holders, like the rubber little alien or something, they just hand them out.
Yeah.
And that's for the plane.
I will
that's
say
for the
this, restaurants have gotten so much quieter.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, they should, you know how they're like, you need a suit jacket to eat here? They should hand kids iPads.
You need a rubber iPad.
Yeah, you need your iPad or the kid cannot enter the restaurant.
Also, I think the idea of autonomy is like kind of an illusion with technology and adults. I think they've hacked our brains so much that we think we're in control of when we look at the phone. We have no fucking clue how often we're on the phone. Because we're like, oh, we're autonomous. We're making this decision. How many times have you opened up the phone and not known what the fuck you're looking for?
All the time.
And you're just like, why am I on this?
All the time.
They just hack the fuck out of our brain. That's why I'm also scared of it, because they are in there. They know how we think better than we know how we think.
As dope as this looks, I still don't think it's going to work. I think it'll be another VR Oculus. There'll be a community for it that it works for, but I think for most people, especially if you live with someone at home, it's like once you put that thing on your face, it's like that person's like checked out.
Yeah.
And it creates a really weird dynamic when you're at home with
Great call.
I don't know. I walk around with my AirPods and I have full conversations.
That's different. Like you can literally see your face. I can wave really quickly, get your attention. Like now, if I'm watching something with this thing on, I either have to yell loudly at you or tap you to get you to check you.
But I'm saying
You do that with this, right?
if it's AR, it's like, oh, you can still see.
Yeah, but you're still
There's
like
a
looking at
disconnect
screens.
when
so it's
someone
like
has ski
they have to
goggles
go in front of you, get in your line of vision. You know, it's just not as immediate as like, yo, hey, Mark.
I completely agree with you. That was the biggest issue with me when I got the Oculus, is that I was completely disconnected from my wife.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an issue for me, it was an issue for my wife. And I understand that. That makes perfect sense. So the way to fix this is to make them glasses. And the only way for them to be glasses is for them to start like this.
Yeah.
And then it gets
I think,
smaller
give
and
it
closer.
5
I mean,
years.
doesn't this
Glasses.
look like the first, what was it called? Was it the iMac? What was that like? There was an Apple computer that had like,
The round one? With
it was a little bit
translucent-
round and
it
had
was a little clear.
translucent different
Yeah,
colors, and it had a little handle on it. You could carry it. So the iMac, it kind of almost looks like the first iMac. Like it's a little bit like kind of round and
bit.
big, and it feels bulky now. But once it's the size of your glasses right there, and it will fucking get there, you can be in it's like you're home. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just takes longer than what people think.
It'll be
before
5
it
years.
gets there. No, I think it'll take longer than
10 years?
Because they've been working on Oculus for 10 years and it hasn't changed that
Fair
much.
enough. But
I think it's less.
Yeah.
well, who knows? Who knows? Whatever it is, it will get there. But in order for it to get there, this has to work. If this flops, they're not going to keep improving it and keep putting in the money for R&D. But if it does all right,
That buy-in, that's steep.
but maybe they price it at a point where they're like, this is only for the enthusiasts.
Early investor. cost.
Exactly. Like, we don't need this to be an iPod. We don't need this to be an iPhone. We don't need this to be that type of sensational breakout. It's priced at a point where just the people who are obsessed are going to buy it, and we can break even or make enough money where we can continue the investment and it's worth it. Because I agree, the price point is high.
Yeah.
This is not like a traditional consumer good.
But if the technology is groundbreaking, then the technology will persist.
All of the Apple products in the beginning were more expensive than I think you remember. Like the OG laptops, OG iPod, OG
That
iPhone.
iMac was thousands of dollars.
Yeah, the original
Really?
Yeah.
thousands. The original the original MacBooks were so for $7,000 in like today's money.
Wow.
iPods were more expensive than you remember. iPhones were incredibly more expensive
you might be
and
right.
super. They didn't have. You couldn't send picture messages on the original iPhone. Like there's
I
things
was
that
gonna
people
say, I
forget.
think I remember the first iPhone not being very impressive.
There's
it was
thing-
impressive for the time, but when we look back on it, it's like this is
Yeah.
damn near primitive.
So like by the third or fourth iteration of this, you'll be like, oh, it's cheaper, ubiquitous, and I want it,
And does more.
and does a lot more. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's gonna be really
And that's
interesting to
if
watch.
they
And
make
also,
it
there's
to
going to
the
be other companies
third or
getting.
fourth
You know how Android has started pushing Apple into doing like a bunch of shit that Apple didn't do. Just that's what competition does. There's going to be other companies doing their thing now. Oculus will step its game up. Whatever other new companies are trying to come in, they're going to go off of that, add little improvements. It's just going to keep pushing each other.
Yeah.
Thinner, better, whatever.
Maybe we'll see.